Is 17 of July 2009. We come to the fourth chapter of the Samyutta Nikaya, Mara Samyutta. I mentioned before, Mara is a Pali name for what they call Satan in Christianity. He is a Deva staying in the highest heaven, the sixth heaven of the sensual desire realm. And he frequently comes to disturb the Buddha and his disciples, those who are either enlightened or struggling to attain enlightenment. The first Sutta 4.1. Thus have I heard, on one occasion, the Blessed One dwelling at Uruvela, on the bank of the river Naranjara, at the foot of the goat herd's banyan tree, just after he had become fully enlightened. Then while the Blessed One was alone in seclusion, a reflection arose in his mind thus: I am indeed freed from that grueling asceticism. It is good indeed that I am freed from that useless, grueling asceticism. It is good that steady and mindful I have attained enlightenment. Then Mara, the evil one, having known with his own mind the reflection in the Blessed One's mind, approached the Blessed One and addressed him in verse. Having deviated from the austere practice by which men purify themselves, being impure, you think you are pure. You have missed the path of purity. Then the Blessed One, having understood this is Mara, the evil one, replied to him in verses. Having known as useless any austerity aimed at the immortal state, that all such penances are futile, like oars and rudder on dry land, by developing the path to enlightenment, virtue, concentration and wisdom, I have attained supreme purity, your defeated end maker. Then Mara, the evil one, realizing the Blessed One knows me, the Fortunate One knows me, sad and disappointed, disappeared right there. That's the end of the sutta. So you see, the Buddha, just after enlightenment, he was very happy and he proclaimed that he has become enlightened and he is freed from all that ascetic practices which he was practicing before enlightenment, wasting 6 years suffering, and finally he found the path to enlightenment. And Mara still, after enlightenment, still comes to try to fool the Buddha by saying that the Buddha has not become pure or enlightened, but the Buddha understood that it was Mara. So when the Buddha identified him, he went away. Next sutta is 4.5. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Varanasi, in the deer park at Isipatana. There the Blessed One addressed the monks thus: Monks, Venerable Sir, or Bhante, those monks replied. The Blessed One said, Monks, I am freed from all snares or traps, both celestial and human. You too, monks, are freed from all snares, both celestial and human. Wander forth, O monks, for the welfare of the multitude, for the happiness of the multitude, out of compassion for the world, for the good welfare and happiness of devas and humans. Let not two of you go the same way. Teach, O monks, the Dhamma that is good in the beginning, good in the middle, good in the end, the right meaning and phrasing. Reveal the perfectly complete and purified holy life. There are beings with little dust in their eyes who are falling away because they do not hear the Dhamma. There will be those who will understand the Dhamma. I too, monks, will go to Senani Gama in Uruvela in order to teach the Dhamma. Stop here for a while. So here, this must be the time after 60 monks had become enlightened, and the Buddha thought it is enough there's enough of them to go and spread the Dhamma. So he asked them to go all over India to teach the Dhamma to people. And he told them, don't two of you go by the same road, all take different paths and all go and teach. So you see, actually, sometimes people don't understand. They say that the Arahants are selfish. It is the Arahants who spread the Dhamma. It is the Arahants who memorize all the Dhamma, and so that nowadays, 2,500 years after the Buddha's passing away, we still have the Dhamma with us. It is not the Bodhisattvas who handed down the Dhamma to us. It is the Arahants. Then Mara, the evil one, approached the Blessed One and addressed him in verse. You are bound by all the snares, both celestial and human. You are bound by the great bondage. You won't escape me, ascetic. And the Blessed One said, I am freed from all the snares, both celestial and human. I am freed from the great bondage. You are defeated and maker. That's the end of the sutta. So here you see the Mara, when the Buddha was struggling to become enlightened, he also came to disturb the Buddha, tried to distract him so that he won't become enlightened. Now even after the Buddha has become enlightened, he still comes to dog the Buddha. And like here, you see the Buddha wants his monks, his disciples to spread the Dhamma, and of course Mara is not happy. If they spread the Dhamma, then more people know the Dhamma, more people get out of samsara. And Mara is not happy, so that's why it's come again. 4.6. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Rajagaha in the bamboo grove, the squirrel sanctuary. Now on that occasion, the Blessed One was sitting out in the open, in the thick darkness of the night, while it was drizzling. Then Mara, the evil one, manifested himself in the form of a giant king serpent and approached the Blessed One. Its body was like a huge boat made from a single tree trunk, its hood like a large brewer's sieve, its eyes like the large bronze dishes of Kosala, its tongue darting out from its mouth like flashes of lightning emitted when the sky thunders, the sound of its breathing in and out like the sound of a blacksmith's bellows filling with air. Then the Blessed One, having understood this is Mara the evil one, addressed Mara the evil one in verses. He who resorts to empty huts for lodging, he is the sage, well controlled. He should live there, having relinquished all. That is proper for one like him. Though many creatures crawl about, many terrors, flies, serpents, the great sage gone to his empty hut stirs not a hair because of them. Though the sky might split, the earth quake, and all creatures be stricken with terror. Though men brandish a dart at their breasts, the enlightened take no shelter in acquisitions. These acquisitions, the Pali is upadi. You can also translate it as attachments. So the enlightened take no shelter in attachments. Then Mara, the evil one, disappeared right there, the end of the sutta. So here I'm just reading one of the suttas where Mara manifested himself in different forms to frighten the Buddha or the other monks. In this case, he took the form of a huge snake, a huge naga. So if a person is not enlightened, you'll be frightened out of your mind in the darkness. Such a huge snake coming. But you see, like the Buddha and his Arahant disciples, their mind is always tranquil, so that even if something frightening occurs, their emotions are still not like unenlightened beings. Unenlightened beings, once a threat comes to your life, the fear will immediately rise. And there is nothing more frightening than the occasion when our life is threatened. In the case of the Buddha and the Arahants, they have no more self. So when their life is threatened, their emotions don't stir. There's some other sutta where the Buddha says, these Arahants, if you take a dagger and you want to stab him in the chest, he will not cry for help. There's no more self. So that's why people don't understand. later books, they say the Arahants are selfish. How can they be selfish when they have no more self at all? So here the Buddha is saying, he who resorts to empty huts for lodging, he is the sage, self-control. He should live there, having relinquished all. So here, the real ascetics, they live in huts which are empty, empty of a friend, empty of property. There's hardly anything in the hut. Just a place for him to rest. So the Buddha says, Buddha and his monks, they move from place to place, just like birds. The birds don't carry anything with them. So the same for the monks. During the Buddha's time, they just carry this one set of 3 ropes and the alms bowl. That's all. And that's enough for them to move all over India. 4.7. I just mentioned here, this sutta is where the Mara took the form of a serpent. In other suttas, which I'm not going to read, sometimes Mara manifests himself as a huge elephant, come to frighten the Buddha or the monks. And sometimes he make the sound as though there's an earthquake. And all that, just to frighten the Buddha and his monks. 4.7. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Rajagaha, the bamboo grove, the squirrel sanctuary. Then when the night was fading, the Blessed One, having spent much of the night walking back and forth in the open, washed his feet, entered his dwelling, and lay down on his right side in the lion's posture, with one leg overlapping the other, mindful and clearly comprehending, having attended to the idea of rising. Let's stop here for a moment. You see, the Buddha and his monk disciples, you see here, when the night was fading, the Blessed One, having spent much of the night walking back and forth in the open. The night starts at about 6 p.m. So when the night was fading, probably it would be around at the end of the first watch, about 10 p.m. So the Buddha spends much of the night walking back and forth. Most of us, when the night comes, we feel exhausted, we want to lie down and take a rest. But the Buddha and his disciples, they try to maintain their wakefulness for as long as possible until they are totally exhausted, they cannot stand, then only they go and lie down. This practice, maintaining the wakefulness, in Pali is called Jagarya Nu Yoga, from the word Jaga. So we Jaga our mindfulness. Then you see the Buddha, when he lies down on his right side in the lion's posture. Chinese we call what? Shi Zi Wo, lying on the right side, one leg overlapping the other. You see here, mindful and clearly comprehending, sati sampajanya. That means even when the Buddha and his monk disciples, when they lie down, they don't fall asleep. They still practice sati, they still practice sampajanya. They are still mindful and they are still remembering their meditation subject. Sati is remembering your meditation subject. So like if they are meditating on the breath, even he lies down also, he still watch the breath. Try not to fall asleep. Then Mara, the evil one, approached the Blessed One and addressed him in verse. What? You sleep? Why do you sleep? What's this? You sleep like a wretch. Thinking the hut's empty, you sleep. What's this? You sleep when the sun has risen. And the Buddha said, within him craving no longer lurks, entangling and binding, to lead him anywhere, with the destruction of all acquisitions or attachments. The awakened one sleeps. Why should this concern you, Mara? Then Mara, the evil one, disappeared right there. So you see, the Mara is always coming to disturb the Buddha. But once the Buddha sees that the Buddha recognizes him, then he will go away. 4.9. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Rajagaha in the bamboo grove, the squirrel sanctuary. There the Blessed One addressed the monks thus, Monks, Noble Sir, those monks replied. The Blessed One said this, Monks, This lifespan of human beings is short. One has to go on to the future life. One should do what is wholesome and lead the holy life. For one who has taken birth, there is no avoiding death. One who lives long, monks, lives 100 years or a little longer. Then Mara, the evil one, approached the Blessed One and addressed him in verse. Long is the lifespan of human beings. The good man should not disdain it. One should live like a milk-sucking baby. Death has not made its arrival. And the Buddha said, short is the lifespan of human beings. Good man should disdain it. One should live like one with head aflame, or the head burning. There is no avoiding death's arrival. Then Mara, the evil one, disappeared right there. So there are many, it's the end of the sutta, there are many instances like this when the Buddha is trying to teach Dhamma to the monks or to some lay person and the Buddha comes to, the Mara comes to disturb them and sometimes try to control their minds so that they don't understand the Dhamma. Here he's trying to contradict the Buddha. When the Buddha recognized him, then he left. The next sutta is 4.18. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling among the Magadhans at the Brahmin village of Panchasala. Now on that occasion, the gift festival of the young people was being held at the Brahmin village of Panchasala. Then in the morning, the Blessed One dressed and taking bowl and robe, entered Panchasala for alms. Now on that occasion, Mara, the evil one, had taken possession of the Brahmin householders of Panchasala, inciting in them the thought, don't let the ascetic Gotama get alms. Then the Blessed One left Panchasala with his bowl just as cleanly washed as it was when he entered it for alms. Stop here for a moment. That means the Buddha went into this village for alms and this Mara, he controlled the people's minds so that they were not inclined to give the Buddha anything. So the Buddha came out of the village totally empty-handed. Then Mara, the evil one, approached the Blessed One and said to him, maybe you got alms, ascetic? And the Buddha said, was it you, evil one, who saw to it that I didn't get alms? And Mara said, then, Venerable Sir, let the Blessed One enter Panchasala a second time for alms. I will see to it that the Blessed One gets alms. And the Buddha said, you have produced demerit, Mara, having assailed the Tathagata. Do you really think, O evil one, my evil does not ripen? Happily indeed we live, we who own nothing at all. We shall dwell feeding on rapture, like the devas of streaming radiance. Then Mara, the evil one, disappeared right there. That's the end of the sutta. So the Buddha says, you have produced demerit, Mara, having assailed the Tathagata. This word Tathagata means thus gone one. Thus gone one. Because he has gone already. But in the Mahayana translation, they say, thus come one, Ru Lai. Actually it's Ru Chi, gone, but they translate wrongly as thus come one. So the Buddha says that this Mara is trying to tempt the Buddha. Say, you enter the village a second time, I'll make sure you get alms food. The Buddha said, happily we live, we shall dwell feeding on rapture, like the devas of streaming radiance. I think this refers to the devas in the second jhana heavens, who are so full of bliss, they don't think about eating food. So the Buddha saying, even if he does not have any physical food, he will feed on rapture. He will enter the jhanas and dwell blissfully. So you see somebody like the Buddha, his meditation is so good that even he does not get food, he will just abide in bliss, probably the whole day. 4.19 at Savatthi. Now on that occasion, the Blessed One was instructing, exhorting, inspiring and gladdening the monks with the Dhamma talk concerning Nibbana. And those monks were listening to the Dhamma with eager ears, attending to it as a matter of vital concern, applying their whole minds to it. 1 minute now. It just come to my, I just remembered just now the previous sutta where Mara possessed the villagers so that they did not give any food to the Buddha. Now what do you think, will they get demerit? Mara has influenced their mind so that they were not inclined to give alms food to the Buddha. So actually, because of that, they actually, my view, my personal view is that they create bad karma. It's just like sometimes somebody incites you, encourages you to do evil. But you have a free mind. You can decide yourself whether you want to do or you don't want. Just because somebody encourages you, and then you use that excuse to do evil, you still have to be responsible for it. That's why in some other suttas it is mentioned that people who are influenced in this way, after they pass away, sometimes they go to a bad rebirth. So even though some people may think put the blame on Mara, but it's true, Mara does get demerit. Mara does evil karma. But the person who refuses to give food to the Buddha, he also does evil karma. So that's why we are responsible for anything we do. We cannot put the blame on somebody else. So coming back to this 4.19, so the Buddha was teaching the Dhamma to the monks about Nibbana. Then it occurred to Mara, the evil one. This ascetic Gautama is instructing, exhorting, inspiring and gladdening the monks who are applying their whole minds to it. Let me approach the ascetic Gautama in order to confound them. Then Mara, the evil one, manifested himself in the form of a farmer, carrying a large plough on his shoulder, holding a long goat stick, his hair disheveled, that means untidy, wearing hempen garments, rough garments, his feet smeared with mud. He approached the Blessed One and said to him, "Maybe you've seen oxen, ascetic." And the Buddha said, "What are oxen to you, evil one?" And then Mara said, "The eye is mine, ascetic. Forms are mine. Eye contact and its base of consciousness are mine. Where can you go, ascetic, to escape from me? The ear is mine. Sounds are mine, etc. The nose is mine, ascetic. Odors are mine, etc. The tongue is mine, ascetic. Tastes are mine. The body is mine, ascetic. Tactile objects are mine. The mind is mine, ascetic." The first mind is M-I-N-D, the second mind is M-I-N-E. The mind is mine, ascetic. Mental phenomena are mine. Mind contact and its base of consciousness are mine. Where can you go, ascetic, to escape from me? I'll stop here for a moment. So here, Mara is saying, the six consciousness which makes up the world belongs to me. So you cannot escape from me as long as you exist. When we exist, we are in the world of the six consciousness, and the six consciousness is full of temptation. The six objects, six sense objects tempt us. Then the Buddha said, "The eye is yours, evil one. Forms are yours. Eye contact and its base of consciousness are yours. But evil one, where there is no eye, no forms, no eye contact, and its base of consciousness, there is no place for you there, evil one. The ear is yours, evil one. Sounds are yours. Ear contact and its base of consciousness are yours. But evil one, where there is no ear, no sounds, no ear contact, and its base of consciousness, there is no place for you there, evil one. The nose is yours, evil one. Odors are yours. Nose contact and its base of consciousness are yours. But evil one, where there is no nose, no odors, no nose contact, and its base of consciousness, there is no place for you there, evil one. The tongue is yours, evil one. Tastes are yours. Tongue contact and its base of consciousness are yours. But evil one, where there is no tongue, no taste, no tongue contact, and its base of consciousness, there is no place for you there, evil one. The body is yours, evil one. Tactile objects are yours. Body contact and its base of consciousness are yours. But evil one, where there is no body, no tactile objects, no body contact, and its base of consciousness. There is no place for you there, evil one. The mind is yours, evil one. Mental phenomena are yours. Mind contact and its base of consciousness are yours. But evil one, where there is no mind, no mental phenomena, no mind contact and its base of consciousness, there is no place for you there, evil one. And Maharaj said, that of which they say it's mine, and those who speak in terms of mind, M-I-N-E, if your mind, M-I-N-D, exists among these, you won't escape me, ascetic. And the Buddha said, that which they speak of is not mine. I'm not one of those who speak of mine. You should know thus, O evil one. Even my path you will not see. Then Mara, the evil one, disappeared right there. So you see, the Buddha replied, this six senses, and the six sense consciousness and the six sense bases and all that is yours. But where there is no six sense, no six bases, no six sense consciousness, there's no place for you. Because the state of Nibbana, or Parinibbana, is out of these six sense, the world of the six senses. So the Buddha can dwell in that state called the cessation of perception and feeling, which is also the cessation of consciousness. All the six consciousness stops. And an Arahant can abide for a maximum of 7 days in that state. That kind of state, Mara cannot enter at all. That's why the Buddha said there's no place for you there. 4.20. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling among the Kosalans in a small forest hut in the Himalayan region. Then when the Blessed One was alone in seclusion, a reflection arose in his mind thus: is it possible to exercise rulership righteously, without killing and without instigating others to kill, without confiscating and without instigating others to confiscate, without sorrowing and without causing sorrow? Then Mara, the evil one, having known with his own mind the reflection in the Blessed One's mind, approached the Blessed One and said to him, Venerable Sir, let the Blessed One exercise rulership righteously, without killing and without instigating others to kill, without confiscating and without instigating others to confiscate, without sorrowing and without instigating others to cause sorrow. And the Buddha said, For what do you see, evil one, that you speak thus to me? And he said, Venerable Sir, the Blessed One has developed and cultivated the 4 bases of spiritual power or psychic power, made them a vehicle, made them a basis, stabilized them, exercised himself in them, and fully perfected them. And Venerable Sir, if the Blessed One wishes, he need only resolve that the Himalayas, the king of mountains, should become gold, and it would turn to gold. And the Buddha said, if there were a mountain made of gold, made entirely of solid gold, not double this would suffice for one. Having known this, fare evenly. How could a person inclined to sensual pleasures, who has seen the source whence suffering springs, having known acquisition or attachment as a tie in the world, a person should train for its removal. Then Mara, the evil one, realizing the Blessed One knows me, the Fortunate One knows me, sad and disappointed, disappeared right there. So here the Buddha one day was thinking, is it possible for a king to rule according to Dhamma without hurting others? And then Mara came to tempt him, asked him, why don't you become a king? Then he also said, you have developed psychic power. If you want, the whole Himalaya mountains can turn into solid gold. And the Buddha said, even two Himalaya mountains made of solid gold is not sufficient if you are not contented, if you have desire and greed. So that's why the Buddha said a person should remove attachment, remove sensual desire. Actually, in the Bible, Jesus also was tempted by the Mara, because Jesus was meditating in the desert 40 days and 40 nights. He did not take food, so he was meditating. And so Mara was afraid that he was near to enlightenment and brought him up the hills for him up the mountains and asked him to become a king. So Jesus also refused the temptation. So it's a little bit similar to this sutta. 4.22. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling among the Sakyans at Silavati. Now on that occasion, the Venerable Samyutta was dwelling not far from the Blessed One, diligent, ardent, and resolute. Then while the Venerable Samyutta was alone in seclusion, a reflection arose in his mind thus: "It is indeed a gain for me. It is well gained by me that my teacher is the Arahant, Sammasambuddha. It is indeed a gain for me. It is well gained by me that I have gone forth in this well-expounded Dhammavinaya. It is indeed a gain for me. It is well gained by me that my companions in the holy life are virtuous, of good character." Stop here for a moment. So here we see the Venerable Samyutta. He realized that he was so lucky to have such a good teacher, Sammasambuddha for his teacher, and his the Dhamma Vinaya of the Buddha is so good, and the Sangha, the companions in the holy life, are so virtuous. So he was very, very happy. Then Mara, the evil one, having known with his own mind the reflection in the mind of the Venerable Samyutta, approached him, and not far from him made a loud noise, frightful and terrifying, as though the earth was splitting open. Then the Venerable Samyutta approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, sat down to one side and reported what had happened. The Blessed One said, "That was not the earth splitting open, Samyutta. That was Mara, the evil one, who had come in order to confound you. Go back, Samyutta, and dwell diligent, ardent, and resolute." One moment, maybe this Venerable Samyutta was not yet an Arahant, but he was practicing very hard to become enlightened. So maybe Mara came to disturb him, frighten him to stop his practice. "Yes, Venerable Sir," the Venerable Samyutta replied. Then he rose from his seat, paid homage to the Blessed One, and departed, keeping him on the right. The second time, while the Venerable Samyutta was alone in seclusion, a reflection arose in his mind that he was, as mentioned before, he had this thought, "It is indeed a gain for me. It is well gained by me that my teacher is the Arahant Sammasambuddha. It is indeed a gain for me. It is well gained by me that I have gone forth in this well-expounded Dhamma Vinaya. It is indeed a gain for me. It is well gained by me that my companions in the holy life are virtuous of good character." So here he's thinking, he was praising the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. And the second time, the evil one came and made a loud noise, frightful and terrifying, as though the earth was splitting open. Then the Venerable Samyutta, having understood this is Mara, the evil one, addressed him in verse: "I have gone forth out of faith from the home to the homeless life. My mindfulness and wisdom are mature, and my mind well concentrated. Conjure up whatever forms you wish, but you will never make me tremble." Then Mara, the evil one, realizing the monk Samyutta knows me, sad and disappointed, disappeared right there. That's the end of the sutta. So here it might be also that Venerable Samyutta was already an Arahant, not so sure. Because here he says his mindfulness and wisdom are mature, his mind well concentrated. Next sutta, 4.23. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Rajagaha in the bamboo grove, the squirrel sanctuary. Now on that occasion, the Venerable Godika was dwelling on the black slope on the black rock on the Isigili slope. Then while the Venerable Godika was dwelling diligent, ardent, and resolute, he reached temporary liberation of mind, but he fell away from that temporary liberation of mind. The second time, while the Venerable Godika was dwelling diligent, ardent, and resolute, he reached temporary liberation of mind, but he fell away from that temporary liberation of mind. And the third time, and the fourth time, and the fifth time, and the sixth time, while the Venerable Godika was dwelling diligent, ardent, and resolute, he reached temporary liberation of mind, but he fell away from that temporary liberation of mind. The seventh time, while the Venerable Godika was dwelling diligent, ardent, and resolute, he reached temporary liberation of mind. Then it occurred to the Venerable Godika, 6 times already had fallen away from temporary liberation of mind. let me use the knife. Then Mara, the evil one, having known with his own mind the reflection in the Venerable Godika's mind, approached the Blessed One and addressed him with these verses. O great hero, great in wisdom, blazing forth with power and glory, I worship your feet, one with vision, who has overcome all enmity and fear. O great hero, who has vanquished death, your disciple is longing for death. He intends to take his own life. Restrain him from this, O luminous one. How, O Blessed One, can your disciple, one delighting in the teaching, a trainee seeking his mind's ideal, take his own life, O widely famed? Now on that occasion, the Venerable Godika had just used the knife. Then the Blessed One, having understood this is Mara, the evil one, addressed him in verse. Such indeed is how the steadfast act. They are not attached to life. Having drawn out craving with its root, Godika has attained final Nibbana. I'll stop here for a moment. So here, this Venerable Godika, he was practicing very diligently. And it's mentioned here that 6 times he tried to attain temporary liberation of mind. He attained it for a short while, but fell out of that state. 6 times he fell out of that state. The 7th time, I think he attained that state. So after that, he decided to commit suicide. And Mara came to tell the Buddha to stop him. But the Buddha did not stop him. So after that, Venerable Godika committed suicide. This temporary liberation of mind, according to the commentaries, refers to the mundane jhanas, states of concentration. He attained states of concentration but fell out of it. But for him to commit suicide, and the Buddha did not restrain him, I feel that probably he had already attained arahanthood. So if he had already attained arahanthood, then it could be that the temporary liberation of mind is the cessation of perception and feeling. The cessation of perception and feeling also means the cessation of consciousness, a state of parinibbana, when an arahant passes away. It is a state where all the consciousness ceases, the 6 consciousness. So, because probably his body was sick, he was not well, he could attain it for a while, but because he was not strong, he fell out of the state. So, there are a few instances of this in the suttas and the Vinaya, where sometimes a monk is very sick and he decides to commit suicide. And the Buddha knows that he is an arahant. The Buddha does not restrain him from committing suicide because he has finished his work. And as the Buddha says here, that they are not attached to life. Such indeed is how the steadfast act. They are not attached to life. Then the Blessed One addressed the monks thus, "Come monks, let us go to the black rock on the Isigiri slope, where the clansman Godika has used the knife." "Yes, Venerable Sir," those monks replied. Then the Blessed One, together with a number of monks, went to the black rock on the Isigiri slope. The Blessed One saw in the distance the Venerable Godika lying on the bed with his shoulder turned. On that occasion, a cloud of smoke, a swirl of darkness, was moving to the east, then to the west, to the north, to the south, upwards, downwards, into the intermediate quarters. The Blessed One then addressed the monks thus, "You see, monks, that cloud of smoke, that swirl of darkness, moving to the east, then to the west, to the north, to the south, upwards, downwards, and to the intermediate quarters?" "Yes, Venerable Sir," they replied. "That, monks, is Mara, the evil one, searching for the consciousness of the clansman Godika, wondering, where now has the consciousness of the clansman Godika been established? However, monks, with consciousness unestablished, the clansman Godika has attained final Nibbana." Then Mara, the evil one, taking a lute of yellow vilva wood, approached the Blessed One and addressed him in verse. "Above, below, and across, in the 4 quarters and in between, I have been searching, but do not find where Godika has gone." And the Buddha said, "That steadfast man was resolute, a meditator always rejoicing in meditation. applying himself day and night, without attachment even to life, having conquered the army of death, not returning to renewed existence, having drawn out craving with its root, Godika has attained final Nibbana. So much was he stricken with sorrow that his lute dropped from his armpit. Thereupon that disappointed spirit disappeared right on the spot. So here you see, after this Venerable Godika passed away, Mara was looking for his consciousness where he was reborn. He was going all over the place, but the Buddha said Mara cannot find his consciousness because his consciousness is unestablished, is no more established anywhere, in any body. That is the state of an Arahant. After he passes away, the consciousness, the sixth consciousness stops. It's unlike the Mahayana Sutras, which says that the Arahant have not finished their work. They still have to come back. No such thing. In the earlier suttas, the Buddha and the Arahant disciples, all, when they pass away, their consciousness, sixth consciousness ceases. They enter Nibbana. So this is interesting sutta where a monk commits suicide. But the Buddha says there is no fault if a monk commits suicide, provided he has finished his work. If he has finished his work, then the Buddha, sometimes the Buddha says, even before he commits suicide, the Buddha tells him, whatever you want to do, don't worry, it's blameless. But on the other hand, if a person has not attained enlightenment, has not finished his work, then the Buddha says that even if you are very sick, even you have a lot of pain, and bear it, because human life is very hard to get. So human life is the only realm of rebirth where we can practice hard to get out of samsara. So even if we are very sick, we should hold on to life, because if we have life, then we still have time to practice to end this round of rebirths. 4.24. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Uruvela, on the bank of the river Naranjara, at the foot of the goat herd's banyan tree. On that occasion, Mara, the evil one, had been following the Blessed One for 7 years, seeking to gain access to him, but without success. Then Mara, the evil one, approached the Blessed One and addressed him in verse. Is it because you are sunk in sorrow that you meditate in the woods? Because you have lost wealth or pined for it, or committed some crime in the village? Why don't you make friends with people? Why don't you form any intimate ties? And the Buddha said, having dug up entirely the root of sorrow, guiltless, I meditate free from sorrow. Having cut off all greedy urge for existence, I meditate taintless or asabha-less, O kinsman of the negligent. And Mara said, that of which they say it's mine, and those who speak in terms of mine, if your mind exists among these, you won't escape me, ascetic. And the Blessed One said, that which they speak of is not mine. I'm not one of those who speak of mine. You should know thus, O evil one, even my path you will not see. And Mara said, if you have discovered the path, the secure way leading to the deathless, be off and walk that path alone. What's the point of instructing others? And the Buddha said, those people going to the far shore ask what lies beyond death's realm. When asked, I explain to them the truth about acquisitions or attachments. I stop here for a moment. So here you see, Mara is saying, if you have discovered the path, the way leading to the deathless, you go and walk the path alone. Why you want to instruct others? So Mara does not like the Buddha to teach the Dhamma to others. Then Mara said, suppose, Venerable Sir, not far from a village or a town, there was a lotus pond in which a crab was living. Then a group of boys and girls would leave the village or town and go to that pond. They would pull the crab out from the water and set it down on high ground. Then whenever that crab would extend one of its claws, those boys and girls would cut it off, break it, and smash it to bits with sticks and stones. Thus when all its claws have been cut off, broken, and smashed to bits, that crab would be unable to return to that pond. So too, Venerable Sir, all those distortions, maneuvers, and contortions of mind have been cut off, broken, and smashed to bits by the Blessed One. Now, Venerable Sir, I am unable to approach the Blessed One again, seeking to gain access to him. Then Mara, the evil one, in the presence of the Blessed One, recited these verses of disappointment. There was a crow that walked around, a stone that looked like a lump of fat. Let's find something tender here, he thought. Perhaps there's something nice and tasty. But because he found nothing tasty there, the crow departed from that spot. Just like the crow that attacked the stone, we leave Gautama disappointed. That's the end of the sutta. So in this sutta, you see, Mara had been following the Buddha for 7 years, trying to influence the Buddha's mind, but he was not successful. So after so many years of effort, he finally decided to give up. That's why he said, just like a crab, some children, they like to take delight in killing the crab, but before killing the crab, they smash all its feet. Anytime the crab extends a foot out, they will smash it. So in the same way, Mara said, each time he tried his tricks on the Buddha would smash his tricks. So finally he decided that enough. He departed just like that crow, disappointed that there was no meat in that stone. The next sutta is connected to this one, 4.25. Then Mara, the evil one, having spoken these verses of disappointment in the presence of the Blessed One, went away from that spot and sat down cross-legged on the ground, not far from the Blessed One, silent, dismayed, with his shoulders drooping, downcast, brooding, unable to speak, scratching the ground with a stick. Then Mara's daughters, Tanha, Arati, and Raga, approached Mara, the evil one, and addressed him in verse. Why are you despondent, father? Who's the man for whom you grieve? You'll catch him with the snare of lust, as they catch the forest elephant. You'll bind him tightly and bring him back, and he'll be under your control. Stop here for a moment. These 3 daughters of Mara, because they come from the 6th heaven, the highest heaven in the sensual desire realm, they must be very beautiful. So they told the father Mara that you can't catch the man, we will catch him for you, using lust, make him have sensual desire, then we can catch him. And the Buddha said, the Arahant, the fortunate one in the world, is not easily drawn by means of lust. He has gone beyond Mara's realm, therefore I sorrow so bitterly. So Mara is saying that he is very bitter. He tried all ways to trick the Buddha, but was not successful. Then Mara's daughters, Tanha, Arati, and Raga, approached the Blessed One and said to him, we serve at your feet, ascetic. But the Blessed One paid no attention, as he was liberated in the unsurpassed extinction of acquisitions or extinction of attachments. Then Mara's daughters, Tanha, Arati, and Raga, went off to the side and took counsel and discussed. Men's stays are diverse. Suppose we each manifest ourselves in the form of 100 maidens. Then Mara's 3 daughters, each manifesting herself in the form of 100 maidens, approached the Blessed One and said to him, we serve at your feet, ascetic. But the Blessed One paid no attention, as he was liberated in the unsurpassed extinction of acquisitions or extinction of attachments. I'll stop here for a while. So here Mara's 3 daughters, they tried to tempt the Buddha, but the Buddha did not even bother to look at them, not interested. Then they decided, after discussing, that each one of them will transform into 100 young girls, all of different looks. So want to tempt the Buddha. So when they manifested in this way, again the Buddha did not bother to look at them, not interested at all. An ordinary person is, he would, as we say, tak boleh tahan, cannot bear it, all these beautiful girls. Then Mara's daughters went off to the side and again took counsel. Men's tastes are diverse. suppose we each manifest ourselves in the form of 100 women who have never given birth. Then Mara's 3 daughters, each manifesting herself in the form of 100 women who have never given birth. And then later in the form of 100 women who have given birth once. And later in the form of 100 women who have given birth twice. And later in the form of 100 women of middle age. And later in the form of 100 old women, approached the Blessed One and said to him, "We serve at your feet, ascetic." But the Blessed One paid no attention as he was liberated in the unsurpassed extinction of acquisitions or extinction of attachments. Let's stop here for a moment. So these Mara's 3 daughters, after manifesting themselves as young girls, they thought that the Buddha was not interested. Then they thought maybe he prefers older women. So they start to transform themselves in different shapes. Some are slightly older, and some later has given birth once, and later given birth twice, middle age, old age, all forms. So the Buddha was not interested. Then Mara's daughters, Tanha, Arati and Raga, went off to the side and said, "What our father said is true. The Arahant, the fortunate one in the world." They repeated what Mara said. If we had assailed with such tactics any ascetic or Brahmana, a holy man, who was not devoid of lust, either his heart would have burst, or he would have vomited hot blood from his mouth, or he would have gone mad, or become mentally deranged, or else he would have dried up and withered away and become shriveled, just as a green reed that has been mowed down and dry up and wither away and become shriveled. Stop here for a moment. So here, they said, if any other person who is not devoid of lust, who still has lust, if we tempt him in this way, his heart would have burst, or he would have vomited blood, or he would have become mad, etc. Then Mara's daughters, Tanha, Arati and Raga, approached the Blessed One and stood to one side. Standing to one side, Mara's daughter, Tanha, addressed the Blessed One in verse. Is it because you are sunk in sorrow that you meditate in the woods? Because you have lost wealth or pined for it, or committed some crime in the village? Why don't you make friends with people? Why don't you form any intimate ties? And the Buddha said, having conquered the army of the pleasant and agreeable, meditating alone, I discovered bliss. The attainment of the goal, the peace of the heart. Therefore, I don't make friends with people, nor will I form any intimate ties. Then Mara's daughter, Arati, addressed the Blessed One in verse. How does a monk here often dwell? That 5 floods crossed, he here has crossed the 6th. How does he meditate? So sensual perceptions are kept at bay and fail to grip him. And the Buddha said, tranquil in body, in mind well liberated, not generating, mindful, homeless, knowing Dhamma, meditating thought-free, he does not erupt or drift or stiffen. When a monk here often dwells thus, with 5 floods crossed, he here has crossed the 6th. When he meditates thus, sensual perceptions are kept at bay and fail to grip him. Then Mara's daughter Raga addressed the Blessed One in verse. He has cut off craving, faring with his group and order. Surely many other beings will cross. Alas, this homeless one will snatch many people and lead them away beyond the king of death. And the Buddha said, truly the Tathagatas, the great heroes, lead by means of the true Dhamma. When they are leading by means of the Dhamma, what envy can there be in those who understand? Then Mara's daughters, Tanha, Arati and Raga, approached the evil one. Mara saw them coming in the distance and addressed them in verses. Fools, you try to batter a mountain with the stalks of lotus flowers, or to dig up a mountain with your nails, or to chew iron with your teeth. As if, having lifted a rock with your head, you sought a foothold in the abyss. As if you struck a stump with your breast, you part from Gautama disappointed. They had come to him glittering with beauty, Tanha, Arati and Raga, but the teacher swept them away right there, as the wind a fallen cotton tuft So here, finally, after they failed to tempt the Buddha, then the three daughters of Mara asked him, the first one asked him, why do you live alone? Why don't you make friends with people? And the Buddha says, he has attained the bliss of liberation. There's no need to make friends with people. Another daughter asked him how to cross the floods. That means to go over to the other shore to be liberated. And the Buddha says, mindful, formless, meditating thought-free. To meditate thought-free means to attain the state where thoughts stop, and that is the second jhana and above. The mind is so concentrated and thoughts cannot arise. And then sensual perceptions are kept at bay and cannot grip that meditator. Then the third one said that such a enlightened person like the Buddha will snatch many people away from the king of death. The king of death can be said to be Mara. So the Buddha said, it's true the Tathagatas lead by the Dhamma, lead people over to the other shore. But why should we be jealous? So when the three daughters went back to Mara, then the Mara scolded them. He tried to influence the Buddha. It's like trying to batter a mountain with lotus flowers, or to chew iron with your teeth. So they were all disappointed. The Buddha and the Arahants, their mind is so steadfast, they cannot be influenced in this way. That's the end of the Mara Samyutta. So I think we can stop here tonight. Then if you have anything to discuss, we can discuss. Any question? Yeah. Yes, contradictory that the Mara can tempt the Buddha and other times show respect. Actually, somebody like Mara, to be reborn as Mara, to be born in the sixth heaven, the sixth heaven in the sensual desire realm shows that his blessings are extremely high. And I would think that Mara must have been a cultivator, a monk or an ascetic in the past, that he can be reborn there. Probably he has attained 1 or 2 or 3 jhanas, but did not constantly abide in jhana. That's why he's reborn in the sensual realm. If a person attains jhana and constantly abides in that jhana, then he'll be reborn in the jhana planes, the form realm. But, people change. After being reborn as Mara, because he has so much power that the ego goes to his head. So then when some ascetic or cultivator practices and is near to enlightenment, because of jealousy, he comes to disturb. But he has a lot of virtue to be reborn up there. So that's why there are times when he's not jealous, that he has respect for the Buddha, and other times his jealousy gets the better of him and tries to obstruct the Buddha and his disciples. It's the same with most people, most of us. We have good karma, we have evil karma. We have the good side of us and we have the evil side of us. So it's Only thing is we are mindful, and we watch, and we try to get rid of our defilements. So far, the few Samyuttas we have dealt with, we haven't come to solid Dhamma yet. Later we'll come to a very solid Dhamma. These are just these suttas are in the Samyutta Nikaya only because they are grouped together, like Devata Samyutta. All the suttas concerning Devas, they are grouped together in this one. Or concerning Mara, so it's grouped together. So you only have a bit of Dhamma sometimes in the suttas. Not much Dhamma yet, but later we'll come to those suttas which are heavy going. Because all the suttas concerning the 37 Bodhipakya Dhammas, the important suttas, are all found inside here, the Samyutta Nikaya. If there's no question, we will transfer merit. Okay, I just want to say one last thing here, because we are on this Mara Samyutta, that quite often we are actually influenced by Mara. Not necessarily the Mara that comes from the 6, 7 in the sensual desire realm, but the Mara inside us. Mara of greed, hatred and delusion very often influences our mind. Especially if our meditation is not good, we don't meditate often, our 5 hindrances are very strong. Sensual desire, anger, sloth and torpor, making us lazy, and restlessness, making us always restless, and doubt. So these 5 maras inside us are a great hindrance. And when they influence our mind, either we do unwholesome karma, or we fail to do wholesome karma. What we should do, we don't do. What we should not do, we do. For example, indulging in sensual pleasures which are wrong, adultery and all that. Or getting angry when we should not get angry, having a big temper, and because when we are angry, we do the wrong things, we say the wrong things, etc. And then sloth and torpor making us lazy, wasting our life instead of leading our life fruitfully. The Buddha says diligence, energetic effort is something that we should cultivate to obtain happiness in this lifetime and to obtain happiness in the next future lifetimes. But because of sloth and torpor, we are lazy. We don't put in effort where we should put in effort. And then restlessness. Instead of being tranquil, we are restless. And because of restlessness, we use our energy in the wrong ways. And then doubt. So there are still others, for example, wanting to indulge in sights, wanting to see beautiful forms, wanting to go touring, wasting our time, going touring here, touring there, overseas, going for holidays, enjoying, or want to indulge in nice sounds. Some people like to hear good music, spend a lot of their energy indulging in good music. Or some people want to indulge in taste, want to eat good food, indulging in food so much that they sometimes their body becomes unhealthy because they are overweight and all these things. So all these are Mara tempting us, influencing our mind. As I mentioned just now, don't put the blame on all those factors. You have a free mind. You have volition, free will to exercise. And if we don't use our free will in the right way, then later we have to pay for it. as I read somewhere before, that in life, life is like a credit card. We enjoy and pay later with tears when we have to suffer. So don't put the blame elsewhere. Always remember, however much Mara tempts us in whatever way, the choice is up to us. If you use your wisdom factor more, then do what you should do. Don't do what you will regret later. So the Dhamma is our guide. We take the advice given to us by the Buddha and practice the right way, lead our life skillfully instead of unskillfully. A lot of people lead their lives unskillfully, and at the end of the life, they regret so many things they should have done, they did not do. So many things that they should not have done, they did. So we live by the Dhamma, we will never regret. And always remember, energetic effort, the Buddha says, will benefit you this life and future lifetimes. So always remember, don't put the blame on Mara or on anyone else. We have our own free will. That's all I want to say.